Welcome back. I realize I've never actually done a shop tour, and I've worked in several different spots, big shop, my driveway, garage, and now finally here. And this is a fair size shop for what I'm doing. It's about perfect. You could just so park a truck in here and walk around it. And when it comes to disassembling things like this, it's beautiful. So I've stored most of the stuff along here. The air cleaners, that's a wet line off of the cab over. In this corner is the bunk, and then I stacked all of the bunk panels and the roof cap and the doors inside of the bunk. The hood, that box is completely full of interior parts for the bunk. More stuff, the exhaust, cab corners are up there. I'm working on these. Random side note, these little trays make great little trays. I keep my drills and everything here. Set of really cheap drill bits and a couple good ones. This one I think is about a $40 bit, but it is the perfect size. It's a 5/8 bit. Perfect size for drilling the rivet nuts out of the side of the cab for the exhaust mounts. And then these are 9/32, and they work great for drilling out the hucks. If you're gonna go to all the work of drilling out hucks, you might as well spend the money on some decent drill bits that'll drill them out in a quarter of the time. I built this workbench myself. It cost me about $600, 16 feet. I just used 2x12s, 3 deep, and then 4x4 posts, 2x4s running sideways to put the braces in, and it worked out pretty good. I just notched the 2x12s on each corner and in the middle for strength, dropped everything in like that, and I'm going to put plywood on top of here yet, just to level it out, because you've got things like that are no good. And then I'm also going to wire in electrical outlets here so I can plug extension cords into this side without having to reach over the top and have wires sitting across the top, because that wall is actually a sliding door into the shed, so I can't really put any wiring on that wall. This corner is all dedicated to oil change stuff, and well, that is the HVAC for the truck, paint stripper, and then just kind of your typical stuff. Pretty much everything I get from Canadian Tire. Stands, a jack, ramps, jerry cans. This little fella here is actually worth every penny. Little Motormaster stool. I use that all the time for polishing and working on cars, pulling tires and whatnot. And a 3-ton jack. And this is the cheap creeper you can get from Canadian Tire. It's really not worth the money. I'm 200 pounds. I kneeled on it once and the board started cracking. No good. And then some other random stuff on here from other little projects I got going on. O-rings and cotter pins, fire extinguishers, hearing protection, torch. These Numa lights are actually pretty good, especially for working in the cold, because the light puts off a stupid amount of heat. Although I did put an LED bulb in this one because I broke the old one. The only really annoying thing is with a lot of these cheap lights is the cords are way too stiff. Like with that trouble light, another Canadian Tire special, the cord's so stiff it's really hard to hang it off of anything, because the cord just shoves the light around. It can't actually hang. And I absolutely love these things. I mix WD-40 and Crown half and half, put it in a pump bottle like that. And it's a really cheap way. Beats having aerosol. It's way cheaper than aerosol because you can buy it bulk in these jugs like that. This is my tool cabinet. I don't think I would buy it again. I knew it was cheap. It's definitely not professional grade. I understood that from the start. And part of with Canadian Tire is you can do 24-month payments at 0% interest, so to buy their brand of stuff is pretty appealing. What's really annoying with it is actually that it's not very deep. So your drawers are actually fairly shallow. So you can't actually fit that much in one drawer. I would like to have my impact sockets and ratchet sockets in the same drawer, have a drawer dedicated for wrenches, but you really can't do that, so I'm forced to do stuff like standard wrenches, standard ratchets beside them, and then same deal with metric. I don't have a lot of tools. I just buy what I need as I need it. This is all Mastercraft branded stuff. I also don't want to buy expensive tools because if anyone decided to come and take them, I don't want to be out a set of Snap-on tools. And I do have security around here, but again, most of this stuff is just cheap, either Princess Auto or Mastercraft. Bit of Tekton stuff in there too. These are the impact drivers I was using. Well, actually, this is it. The Mastercraft one, not worth it. I wouldn't waste your money on the Mastercraft. This is the Tekton one. And you can see, like, this is just cheap off Amazon. I'll have a link for it if you want. I'm not sure I would completely recommend it, simply because the tips are fairly low quality. I've already spiralized one of these. If you want a cheap impact driver set, I would 100% get this one if you understand that the tips aren't invincible and you might have to buy some decent Snap-on tips. I've already snapped the Mastercraft tip off, and like, this thing isn't even chromed. It's completely steel. It's gonna start getting rusty in no time. Actually, not sure why I have two of those. And again, these are just random bits that you get with the tool sets that you can buy, like in the blow cases. A whole bunch of random garbage. Actually, I don't want that in there. Pry bars and vice grips. Again, I don't have many tools at all. The real specialized tools I all have at home anyway, so I don't need to keep them here. Impact sockets, I just 1/4" drive stuff. I'm not even sure why they bothered with that. Again, this is all Mastercraft branded stuff, but they do have engraving and the laser etching on each one. I wouldn't buy sockets that don't have engraving. Like here, this is all from a set I had in a blow case a long time ago, and these are Stanley, which would be the same as DeWalt, and they only have laser etching on them. There's no actual engraving whatsoever. Look at something that I've used quite a bit. It is standing up. Just peace of mind would say, you can see that one's starting to get rusty. Buy a set of chromes with actual engraving, and they'll last you a lifetime instead of this cheap stuff. It's a Tekton long-handled ratchet. A $20 torque wrench from Princess Auto, but I only bought that to do tires. If I want a decent torque wrench, I'll go grab one from somewhere else. Again, there's no point in having an expensive tool sitting in here. 1/2" breaker bar. I believe that's Maxim branded one as well. We do break these from time to time. Nothing's invincible. You put a pipe on there and someone that's real excited to get the bolt off, and just snap these ears off. Kaboom. Nothing's perfect. Cheap little ratchet here, again Princess Auto, but I like the ones with the finger serrations for a dial. Sometimes it comes in real handy for hand starting things, because you can put an extension on, reach down in, you can hand start with a long extension. You can hand start from up here, so at least have one. The rest of these cheap Mastercraft. I do like the push release style ratchets. I've never been a big fan of just the regular ones where you rip them off. I like the idea of being able to lock on the socket. These are the Mastercraft Maxim, right? So they're supposed to be the heavy duty ratcheting wrenches. Honestly, in my opinion, they're hot garbage. I know they say they have lifetime warranty on, but this is my 1/2 inch. It completely loose. Snap ring fell out of it, so the actual ratchet mechanism you can see there just falls completely out of the thing. So I gotta take it back to the store and see if they'll give me a refund or a new one, or however that works. Honestly, I think it's just kind of a crappy idea. We have a set of the older ones back at the farm, and they don't seem to have that problem. And just a sign of bad quality. I also have a set of the ratcheting wrenches that have the direction selector on them and with angled head. I like those too, but they're in the truck right now. Cheap multimeter. Really, I only bought it for doing the 24 volt to 12 volt conversion and working with the polarity switcher just to double check my wiring if I decide to leave it on. It was only 15 bucks anyway. Calipers, some feeler gauges. Haven't gotten far enough to use them yet, but I figured I'd pick up a set. Cleco's air supply, a selection of fine goops, electrical. That's about all I have in there. Like I said, I don't have a full set of tools because I haven't needed all the tools yet. It's good enough for me for now. Extension cords, pressure washer, some real high gauge wire, and then your cheap low gauge stuff. This thing's kind of cool. I like plugging my lights into it, and then I just have a single switch to turn all the lights off when it's time to go in. This little wheelie cart I made myself for the cabin bunk to roll around on. A couple 2x8s and 4 wheels. I wish I would have gotten wheels that turn, but I didn't. They've been fine so far. And the actual construction of the thing I did with the sandwich style, like so. Just a single 2x8 along each end. And then I left holes in there just in case I ever wanted to put pallet forks through it to pick something up. Thought it would be a good idea to do it right then. Oh. Are we gonna hear a bang? Those tires are way overinflated. They are not rated for anything close to the amount of pressure I have in them, but they're holding it anyway. Got 1/2 inch chain and some hooks for a little side project I'm experimenting with. Those grain shovels work great as a dustpan. This is the shop. I got both trucks just parked outside right there. Easy as pie to get at. So that's what we got. If anyone has any questions about anything in here or wants to see something else, I'll gladly show it to them. This will definitely evolve as I need more equipment to get the job done here. Like I said, all the special tools for U-joints, etc. are all somewhere else, so that's nice. I don't have to keep them all right here, just what I need to get the work done. Anyway, thanks for watching.